He walked into her apartment to collect a debt that would destroy her. But when he saw the medical papers on her counter, his hands started shaking. The child she saved was his son. And now, he had to make an impossible choice. Devon's phone buzzed at 6:15 a.m., the same time it did every morning. He reached across the nightstand and silenced it before the second buzz could wake Caleb in the next room. The apartment was cold. The heating bill came last week and he'd paid half, promising the rest by the 15th. He sat up and his feet touched the worn carpet, the same carpet that had been here when he and Caleb moved in 3 years ago after the divorce. He walked to Caleb's room and pushed the door open slow. His son was sleeping, his small chest rising and falling under the Space Jam blanket Devon bought him last Christmas. Caleb's head was turned to the side and his mouth was open a little. 2 years ago, Devon wasn't sure Caleb would make it to 8 years old. 2 years ago, his son's skin was gray and his eyes had dark circles that made him look like an old man. The leukemia had been eating him from the inside. But now Caleb was here. Breathing. Alive. Devon went to the kitchen and started the coffee maker. The machine gurgled and hissed. He opened the fridge and pulled out the eggs and turkey bacon. Caleb needed protein. The doctor said that every visit. Keep his strength up, Mr. Price. Devon cracked 3 eggs into the pan and watched them sizzle. His phone buzzed again on the counter. A text from his boss, Richard. New file on your desk. High priority. $8,400. Keisha Williams. South Side. Get it done by end of week. Devon stared at the message. High priority meant someone important wanted their money. High priority meant no excuses. He typed back a thumbs up and slid the phone into his pocket. The eggs were done. He plated them with the bacon and 2 pieces of toast, then walked back to Caleb's room. Hey, buddy. Time to get up. Caleb groaned and rolled over, pulling the blanket over his head. Devon sat on the edge of the bed and pulled the blanket down gently. Come on, man. Breakfast is ready. You got school. Caleb opened his eyes and smiled, that same gap-toothed smile that made Devon's chest hurt in a good way. Is it Friday yet? It's Tuesday. Man. Caleb sat up and rubbed his eyes. I hate Tuesday. Everybody hates Tuesday. That's why we gotta eat good and make it better. They ate together at the small kitchen table. Caleb talked about his friend Jason and how Jason said he could do a backflip but couldn't really do a backflip and how the whole class knew he was lying. Devon listened and nodded and poured Caleb more orange juice. These mornings were everything. These mornings were why Devon did the job he hated. After dropping Caleb off at school, Devon drove to the office on West Madison. The building was old, with brown bricks and windows that didn't close all the way. Inside, the air smelled like burnt coffee and copy paper. Devon walked past the cubicles where other collectors sat with their headsets on, voices low and firm, asking people for money they didn't have. He reached his desk and saw the folder Richard mentioned. Keisha Williams. Age 28. Address on 79th Street. Amount owed, $8,400. Original creditor, Medifund Solutions. Medical debt. Devon opened the folder and scanned the documents. The debt was from 2 years ago. A payment plan that Keisha had missed 3 months in a row. The note said she'd been dodging calls. Richard had written in red pen at the top, "In person. Today." Devon closed the folder and grabbed his jacket. He didn't like going to people's homes, but sometimes that's what the job required. Sometimes you had to look someone in the eye and ask them for money they didn't have. Sometimes you had to be the bad guy. The drive to 79th Street took 30 minutes. The neighborhood was rough, with boarded-up shops and chain-link fences around empty lots. Devon parked in front of a 3-story apartment building with chipped yellow paint. He checked the address again. Unit 2C. He got out of the car and locked it twice, then walked up the concrete steps to the entrance. The door was propped open with a brick. Inside, the hallway smelled like fried food and something sour he couldn't name. He climbed the stairs to the second floor and found 2C at the end of the hall. He knocked 3 times. Hard enough to be heard, soft enough not to scare anyone. Footsteps. A woman's voice. "Who is it?" "My name is Devon Price." I'm here from Tri-State Recovery Services. I need to talk to Keisha Williams. Silence. Then the deadbolt turned and the door opened a crack. A woman stood there, her hair pulled back in a ponytail, her face tight with worry. She was younger than Devon expected. Her eyes were brown and tired. "I don't have it," she said. "I told y'all on the phone. I don't have it. Can I come in? Just for a few minutes." She hesitated, then stepped back and opened the door wider. Devon walked into the small apartment. The living room was clean but crowded. A couch with a floral pattern. A TV on a stand. Toys on the floor, dolls and stuffed animals. A little girl sat on the couch, maybe 6 or 7, watching cartoons with the volume low. Keisha crossed her arms. "My daughter's here, so keep your voice down." "I'm not here to yell," Devon said. He kept his tone calm. "I just need to talk about your account." "I know what you need. You need $8,400. I don't have $8,400. I don't have $400. I barely got enough to keep the lights on." Devon looked around the apartment. There was a stack of mail on the kitchen counter. Envelopes with red stamps. Final notice. Urgent. He saw a picture on the wall, Keisha and the little girl at Navy Pier, both of them smiling in front of the Ferris wheel. "I understand this is hard," Devon said. "But the creditor is ready to take legal action. If we can set up a payment plan, even something small, it shows good faith." Keisha laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Good faith? You think I'm not trying? You think I don't want to pay?" She walked to the counter and grabbed a stack of papers, shoving them toward Devon. "You see this? Medical bills. My daughter, Amara, she got tested 2 years ago. Bone marrow registry. They said she was a match for some kid who needed it. They said it would save his life. So I said yes. I said yes because what kind of person says no to that?" Devon's stomach dropped. He took the papers from her hands. The top one was from the National Marrow Donor Program. Dated October 2023. Donor: Amara Williams. Recipient: Anonymous. "They told me insurance would cover it," Keisha continued. Her voice cracked. "They said it wouldn't cost nothing. But then the bills came. The follow-up appointments. The tests. The travel. They said I signed something. They said I was responsible. And now I'm about to lose my apartment because I helped save some kid I don't even know." Devon couldn't breathe. He stared at the paper in his hand. October 2023. That was when Caleb got his transplant. That was when the doctor called and said they found a match. That was when Devon sat in the hospital room and held Caleb's hand and prayed for the first time in 10 years. "How old was the kid?" Devon asked. His voice sounded far away. "I don't know. They don't tell you nothing. Just that he needed it bad." Devon flipped through the papers. There was a receipt from Children's Memorial Hospital. The same hospital where Caleb was treated. He saw the dates. The procedure date: October 18th, 2023. The same day Caleb got his transplant. His hands started shaking. "You okay?" Keisha asked. Devon looked up at her. Then he looked at the little girl on the couch. Amara. She was watching him now, her big brown eyes curious. She had beads in her hair, colorful beads that clicked when she moved her head. "My son," Devon said. His voice broke. "My son got a bone marrow transplant 2 years ago. October 2023. At Children's Memorial." Keisha's face changed. Her arms dropped to her sides. "What?" "His name is Caleb. He's 8 years old. He had leukemia." Devon's chest was tight. He couldn't get enough air. "Your daughter saved his life." If this story is touching your heart, please hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us share these powerful stories with others who need to hear them. Thank you for being part of this community. The apartment went quiet. Even the TV seemed to fade into nothing. Keisha stared at Devon like he'd just spoken a language she didn't understand. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. Amara looked between them, sensing something big was happening but not knowing what. Devon's legs felt weak. He sat down on the arm of the couch without asking. The folder slipped from his hand and papers scattered on the floor. The medical bills. The payment history. The debt that was about to take everything from this woman. From the woman whose daughter saved Caleb. "That's not possible," Keisha whispered. "They said it was anonymous. They said I'd never know." "It is anonymous," Devon said. "But the dates match. The hospital. Everything." He looked at Amara again and his eyes burned. "She saved my son's life." Keisha covered her mouth with her hand. Tears spilled down her cheeks. "I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. Mommy." Amara stood up from the couch. "Why are you crying?" Keisha wiped her face fast and forced a smile. "I'm okay, baby. I'm okay." She looked at Devon. "You need to leave. Please." Devon stood up. His brain was spinning. He bent down and picked up the papers, shoving them back into the folder. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Just go." He walked to the door and stopped. He turned back. "How much time do you have before they evict you?" Keisha's jaw tightened. "End of the month. 2 weeks." Devon nodded. He opened the door and stepped into the hallway. The door closed behind him and he heard the deadbolt click. He stood there for a long time, staring at the peeling paint on the wall. Then he walked down the stairs and got into his car. He sat in the driver's seat and gripped the steering wheel. He couldn't drive. He couldn't think. Caleb was alive because of that little girl. Because Keisha said yes when she could have said no. And now Devon was here to take her home. He pulled out his phone and called Richard. "You got the payment?" Richard answered without a hello. "I need more time on this one." "You got until Friday. That's the deadline." "She doesn't have it, Rich. She's got a kid. She's about to be evicted." "Not my problem. Not your problem. Do your job, Devon." "She went into debt saving someone's life. Medical bills from a bone marrow donation." Richard sighed. "Look, I get it. It's sad. They're all sad. But if we let everyone slide because of a sob story, we'd be out of business. You want to feed your kid, you collect the debt. End of story." Devon hung up. He threw the phone onto the passenger seat and started the car. He drove back to the office but didn't go inside. He sat in the parking lot and watched people walk in and out of the building. All of them doing the same thing he did. Calling people. Threatening people. Taking money from people who didn't have money. He thought about Caleb in the hospital bed 2 years ago. The 4 in his arm. The way his voice sounded so small when he asked, "Am I gonna die, Dad?" Devon had lied. He'd said, "No, buddy. You're gonna be fine." But he didn't know. Nobody knew. And then the call came. They found a match. A little girl in Chicago. A perfect match. Devon pulled out his phone and opened his photos. He scrolled back to October 2023. There was a picture of Caleb after the transplant, his head bald, his smile weak but there. Devon had taken that photo and sent it to his ex-wife with the message, "He made it." He started crying. Right there in the parking lot of Tri-State Recovery Services, Devon Price put his head on the steering wheel and cried like he hadn't cried in years. When he got home that night, Caleb was at the kitchen table doing homework. Math problems. Addition and subtraction. Devon stood in the doorway and watched him. Caleb was humming to himself, tapping his pencil on the paper. "Hey, Dad." Caleb didn't look up. "Can you help me with number 7? Devon walked over and sat down next to him. He looked at the problem. 56 plus 37. "What do you think it is?" Caleb counted on his fingers. 93. "That's right. Good job." Caleb smiled and wrote down the answer. Devon put his hand on his son's shoulder and squeezed. Caleb kept working on the next problem. He had no idea that the reason he was sitting here, alive and doing homework, was because a little girl named Amara gave part of herself to save him. "Dad, you okay?" Caleb looked up. "You look weird." Devon wiped his eyes. "I'm good. Just had a long day." "You always have long days." "Yeah, I do. That night, after Caleb went to bed, Devon sat at the kitchen table with his laptop. He opened his bank account. He had $11,000 in savings. Money he'd been putting away for emergencies. Money for Caleb's future. He stared at the number for a long time. Then he opened the folder from Keisha's case and looked at the amount owed. $8,400. He could do it. He could pay off her debt. But then he'd have almost nothing left. And what if Caleb got sick again? What if something happened? But Caleb was only alive because Keisha said yes. Because she put her daughter through tests and procedures and didn't think twice about it. Devon closed the laptop. He went to bed but didn't sleep. He stared at the ceiling and listened to Caleb breathing in the next room. Every breath was a gift from a woman he was supposed to destroy. The next morning, Devon didn't go to the office. He drove straight to 79th Street. He parked in front of the yellow building and walked up to 2C. He knocked on the door. Keisha opened it and her face went hard when she saw him. I told you I don't have the money. I know. I'm not here for that. Devon reached into his jacket and pulled out an envelope. I'm here to give you this. Keisha frowned. She took the envelope and opened it. Inside was a cashier's check for $8,400. Her hands started shaking. What is this? It's your debt. It's paid. I don't understand. Your daughter saved my son. I can't let you lose your home because of that. Keisha's eyes filled with tears. I can't take this. This is too much. You already gave me everything, Devon said. His voice broke. You gave me my son. This is nothing compared to that. Keisha broke down. She covered her face with her hands and sobbed. Devon stood there, not knowing what to do. Then she stepped forward and hugged him. She held on tight and cried into his shoulder. Devon hugged her back. When she finally let go, she wiped her face and looked at him. Why would you do this? You don't even know me. Because it's right. Because you deserve better than what they did to you. And because I owe you a debt I can never repay. Keisha shook her head. You don't owe me nothing. I did what anyone would do. No, Devon said. You did what most people wouldn't do. You said yes when you could have said no. You put your daughter through all that to save a stranger. That's not normal. That's not common. That's something else. They stood there in the doorway for a long moment. Then Keisha smiled. A real smile. You want to come in? Have some coffee? Devon nodded. Yeah, I'd like that. He walked into the apartment. Amara was watching TV again. She looked up when Devon came in. Mommy, is that the man from yesterday? Yeah, baby. This is Mr. Devon. He's a friend. Devon sat on the couch. Amara scooted over to make room. You like cartoons? She asked. I do. My son loves cartoons. How old is he? 8. I'm 7. Almost 8. My birthday is in January. That's awesome. Keisha brought 2 mugs of coffee and sat in the chair across from them. They talked for an hour. About Caleb. About Amara. About the transplant and the bills and how the system was broken. Keisha told him how she'd called the hospital and the insurance company and the billing department and everyone told her something different. How she tried to set up a payment plan but the amount kept growing with fees and interest. How she'd worked 2 jobs and still couldn't keep up. Devon told her about Caleb's diagnosis. About the fear. About the hope when they found a match. About the day after the transplant when Caleb opened his eyes and said, I'm hungry, Dad. That moment when Devon knew his son was going to make it. I want them to meet, Devon said. Caleb and Amara. If that's okay with you. Keisha smiled. I'd like that. The next week, Devon took Caleb to a park on the south side. Keisha and Amara were already there, sitting on a bench near the playground. When Caleb saw them, he looked up at Devon. Who are they? That's Keisha and her daughter, Amara. They're special. Why? Devon knelt down so he was eye level with his son. Because Amara is the reason you're still here. She's the one who gave you the bone marrow. Caleb's eyes went wide. Really? Really? Caleb looked at Amara and then back at Devon. "Can I say thank you?" "Yeah, buddy. You can say thank you." Caleb ran over to the bench. Devon followed. Keisha stood up and smiled. "Hi, Caleb." "Hi." Caleb looked at Amara. "Thank you for saving me." Amara looked at her mom, confused. Keisha put her hand on her daughter's shoulder. "You helped Caleb when he was sick. You were very brave." Amara smiled. "You're welcome. You want to play on the swings?" "Yeah." The two kids ran off to the playground. Devon and Keisha sat on the bench and watched them. Caleb pushed Amara on the swing. She laughed. He laughed. They looked like they'd known each other forever. "I quit my job," Devon said. Keisha looked at him. "What?" "I couldn't do it anymore. After meeting you, after seeing what that debt did to you, I couldn't keep taking money from people who don't have it. So I quit." "What are you going to do?" "I don't know yet. But I'll figure it out." He looked at her. "I'm going to fight them. The company that charged you all that money. Medifund Solutions. They prey on people who do the right thing. They need to be exposed." Keisha nodded. "I'll help you. Whatever you need." "You sure?" "I'm sure. Nobody else should go through what I went through." They sat there in the November sun and watched their kids play. Two families brought together by chance. By sacrifice. By a system that tried to break them but didn't. Devon thought about the ledger. The debts we owe. The debts we collect. The debts that can never be repaid. And he realized that some debts aren't meant to be closed. Some debts are meant to open doors. To connect people. To change lives. Caleb and Amara ran back to the bench, out of breath and grinning. "Can we get ice cream?" Caleb asked. Devon looked at Keisha. She smiled. "Ice cream sounds perfect." They walked together to the ice cream truck parked near the entrance. For people who had become something more than strangers. Something like family. And for the first time in a long time, Devon felt like maybe the world wasn't as broken as he thought. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If this story moved you, please subscribe to the channel and let us know in the comments where you're watching from. Your support means everything, and it helps us continue sharing stories that matter. We'll see you in the next one.